Have you ever wondered what it feels like when tons of metal collide just inches away from where you're sitting? Picture yourself strapped into an aircraft seat, phone in hand, perhaps sending one last message before switching to airplane mode. The familiar drone of engines fills the cabin as your plane inches forward on the taxiway. Then, without warning, a thunderous bang tears through the air. The entire aircraft lurches violently. Your body slams against the restraints. For a split second, time freezes, and your mind races to comprehend what just happened. This terrifying scenario became reality at one of America's most congested airports. LaGuardia Airport in New York City, a transportation hub that processes thousands of daily flights, witnessed an event that sends shivers down any traveler's spine. Two Delta Airlines, regional jets, both navigating the crowded ground infrastructure, collided with devastating force. What should have been a mundane taxi maneuver transformed into an emergency that grounded aircraft, injured crew, and raised urgent questions about ground safety protocols. Welcome to Minecrafted, where we unpack the stories that matter. Today we're examining this shocking incident, exploring what went wrong, and understanding why ground operations deserve just as much attention as flight safety itself. America's most challenging airport, LaGuardia. Airport stands as a testament to both human ingenuity and the limitations of urban aviation infrastructure. Built in 1939 on reclaimed waterfront property, this facility has served generations of travelers while struggling with constraints that modern airport designers would never accept today. The airport covers just 680 acres, making it one of the smallest major commercial airports in the United States. Its runways measure only 7,000 feet, requiring pilots to execute precise approaches with minimal room for error. But the real challenge isn't the runways, it's the taxiways that weave between them, like narrow corridors in a crowded building. On any given day, LaGuardia processes over 1,000 flights. With aircraft from various airlines maneuvering through limited space in carefully coordinated sequences, the airport's layout creates a complex ballet where timing is everything. Aircraft queue for departure like cars at a congested intersection, each waiting for air traffic control to grant permission for every turn, every movement, every inch of progress. Pilots describe taxiing at LaGuardia as one of the most mentally demanding ground operations in commercial aviation. The margin for error shrinks to nearly nothing when multiple wide-body jets navigate passages designed decades ago for smaller aircraft. This environment demands absolute precision, flawless communication, and constant vigilance from everyone involved in ground operations. Anatomy of a ground collision: the incident unfolded during what aviation professionals call the taxi phase, the period between gate departure and takeoff, when aircraft navigate to their assigned runway. Two Delta Connection, CRJ-900 regional jets, operated by Endeavor Air, moving through separate but intersecting paths at the junction of taxiways M&A. Flight 5047 had just arrived from Charlotte, North Carolina, carrying 57 passengers, while Flight 5155 was preparing to depart for Roanoke, Virginia, with 28 passengers aboard. Air traffic control had instructed Flight 5155 to hold position and yield to the arriving aircraft. However, Flight 5155 proceeded forward, and its right wing extended directly into the path of Flight 5047's nose section. The collision was catastrophic in its violence, despite Delta describing it as a low-speed incident. The right wing of Flight 5155 struck the nose and cockpit area of Flight 5047 with tremendous force, shattering the reinforced cockpit windscreens and tearing into the fuselage structure. Metal screamed against metal as passengers aboard the arriving Charlotte flight experienced the impact. Passenger Nate Cicero later described the terrifying moment. Their pilot slammed on the brakes, but the collision was inevitable as the departing aircraft's wing came directly toward them. The confusion amplified the terror as crew members worked to assess the situation and maintain calm. One flight attendant, aboard Flight 5155, sustained a knee injury during the impact and was transported to the hospital for treatment. The damaged aircraft, now with compromised cockpit windscreens and structural damage, sat disabled at the taxiway intersection as emergency protocols activated across the airport. Emergency response and investigation within seconds of the collision. LaGuardia's emergency response system sprang into action with the precision that defines modern aviation safety culture. Air traffic control immediately halted all ground movements in the affected area. essentially freezing the airport's taxiway operations to prevent any additional incidents. Fire trucks, ambulances, and emergency response vehicles converged on the scene, their crews prepared for scenarios ranging from fuel leaks to passenger injuries. Airport operations staff established a perimeter while airline representatives rushed to coordinate passenger evacuation and care. The response demonstrated years of training and preparation for events that, while rare, require immediate and coordinated action. The National Transportation Safety Board dispatched a team of 10 investigators to begin what would become a comprehensive examination of every factor contributing to the collision. Flight recorders from both aircraft were immediately recovered and transported to NTSB headquarters in Washington. For detailed analysis, their investigation follows a methodical process honed over decades of accident analysis. Investigators collected cockpit voice recordings, air traffic control communications showing that Flight 5155 had been instructed to hold position, and yield and ground radar data showing the precise positions and movements of both aircraft. They interviewed pilots, controllers, ground crew, and passengers to construct a complete timeline of events. Physical evidence from the damaged aircraft underwent detailed examination, with specialists analyzing impact angles, structural deformation, and sightline limitations from various cockpit positions. The NTSB's goal extends beyond assigning responsibility. They seek to understand why Flight 5155 proceeded through the intersection despite instructions to hold, then recommend changes to prevent similar incidents in the future. Understanding ground safety challenges, aviation safety discussions typically focus on mechanical reliability, weather hazards, and in-flight emergencies. Yet ground operations present equally serious risks that receive less public attention. Statistics from the International Civil Aviation Organization reveal that runway and taxiway incidents, collectively called runway incursions, occur more frequently than most travelers realize.
Wow.
In the United States alone, the Federal Aviation Administration documented over 1,700 runway incursions in 2023. While the vast majority involve no actual collision, each represents a breakdown in the systems designed to keep aircraft separated. The potential consequences range from minor disruptions to catastrophic accidents like the 1977 Tenerife disaster, where two Boeing 747 aircraft collided on a foggy runway, killing 583 people in aviation's deadliest accident. Modern airports employ multiple layers of protection against ground collisions, yet vulnerabilities persist. Pilots navigate using airport diagrams while listening to rapid-fire air traffic control instructions, often at unfamiliar airports with complex layouts. Controllers manage dozens of simultaneous movements, coordinating departures, arrivals, and ground traffic while monitoring weather and runway conditions. Technology assists both parties. Ground radar shows controllers the positions of all aircraft, while some modern planes feature moving map displays that help pilots visualize their location. However, these systems aren't perfect. Radar can lose accuracy in certain areas. Moving maps depend on accurate position data. Human factors, including fatigue, distraction, and communication errors, remain significant concerns. The challenge intensifies at aging airports like LaGuardia, where infrastructure designed for a different era of aviation struggles to accommodate today's traffic, volumes, and aircraft sizes. The human element in aviation safety behind every aviation incident lies a complex web of human decisions, actions, and sometimes mistakes that cascade into dangerous situations. The collision at LaGuardia likely resulted from what safety experts call an error chain, a sequence of small failures that individually might seem insignificant, but collectively create disaster. Perhaps a pilot misheard a taxi instruction in the noisy cockpit environment. Maybe a controller issued clearances that, while technically correct, created insufficient separation given the aircraft types involved. Visibility conditions, cockpit workload, or simple distraction could have prevented someone from seeing the developing conflict until too late. Aviation psychology research shows that even highly trained experienced professionals make errors when working under pressure in complex environments. This reality drives aviation's approach to safety, which differs fundamentally from other industries. Rather than seeking to eliminate human error, which is impossible, aviation focuses on building systems that catch and correct errors before they cause harm. This philosophy, called threat and error management, acknowledges that mistakes will happen, and designs multiple defenses to prevent those mistakes from progressing into accidents. Standardized phraseology reduces miscommunication. Checklist procedures prevent forgotten steps. Redundant systems provide backups when primary systems fail. Most importantly, a non-punitive safety culture encourages reporting of errors and near misses, allowing the industry to learn from problems before they become tragedies. The LaGuardia investigation exemplifies this approach, focusing not on punishment but on understanding and improvement. Every pilot, controller, and aviation professional knows that they too could face similar circumstances, and that collective safety depends on honest examination of what went wrong, lessons, and the path forward. The collision of two Delta aircraft at LaGuardia Airport serves as a powerful reminder that aviation safety is a continuous journey rather than a destination. Every incident, regardless of outcome, offers opportunities to strengthen the systems protecting millions of daily passengers worldwide. The investigation into this event will likely produce recommendations addressing multiple aspects of ground operations. These might include enhanced taxiway markings at congested airports, improved pilot training for complex ground movements, or technological solutions like advanced collision warning systems. Some recommendations may target LaGuardia specifically, addressing the unique challenges of its constrained layout. Others might apply industry-wide, strengthening ground safety protocols across all airports. What makes aviation remarkably safe isn't the absence of problems, but the industry's relentless commitment to learning from every problem that occurs. The same investigative rigor applied to this ground collision applies to incidents worldwide, creating a global knowledge base that continuously improves safety standards. Passengers who experienced this terrifying moment walked away physically safe, protected by the multiple safeguards built into modern aviation. That outcome wasn't luck or coincidence. It resulted from decades of safety improvements, each driven by previous incidents and the determination to prevent recurrence. As you board your next flight and watch your aircraft taxi toward the runway, remember that what appears to be a simple drive across concrete represents one of the most carefully managed operations in modern transportation. Every movement is monitored, every clearance is deliberate, and every precaution is taken because the aviation community knows that safety is built on vigilance, not complacency. Thank you for watching Mindcrafted, where we explore the fascinating stories behind the systems that shape our world. If you found this deep dive into aviation safety compelling, please subscribe to our channel for more content that educates and enlightens. Hit that like button to help others discover these important stories, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss our next exploration. We'd love to hear your perspective on this incident. Have you ever experienced a concerning moment during air travel? What do you think airports and airlines should prioritize to enhance ground safety? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your insights contribute to our community's understanding of these complex topics. Join us next time as we continue uncovering the remarkable, sometimes startling truths about the technologies and systems we encounter every day. Until then, stay curious, stay informed, and remember that behind every headline is a deeper story worth understanding.